Welcome back. So, we're doing something a little bit different today. I'm going to be messing around on Star Citizen, and I just kind of wanted to yap for a bit while I do stuff. I guess to start out, I kept floating the idea to start throwing other things on my channel, because I do a lot more than just play Enlisted. Like obviously during events, I play Enlisted a lot, and then usually after an event ends, I usually don't play it for at least a week or two, because, you know, playing it like every day or whatever. But even within the Enlisted sphere, like there's lots of stuff that I still want to talk about with Enlisted, and I do like going over new things and my thoughts on things and whatnot. But when I first started making videos, I kind of just wanted to do them about, I don't know, whatever I was passionate about at the time, just whatever I felt like yapping about. And for a long time, I kept saying, oh, I'm going to start throwing other stuff on my channel. Like, for a while, I threw, like, DCS stuff on there from time to time. And, like, I have done a Star Citizen video, like, once or twice or whatever. I don't know. I just want to actually start putting more stuff on there. Because, like, there was a while where I was doing videos almost every day. But the thing is, doing a video almost every day, you have to be either very creative about the topics, or you start to get very repetitive, or you run out of topics. So I kind of like cut it down, and my idea was to like fill out the other days with other stuff. I just never actually started putting other stuff on there, either because I'd sit here after the fact and be like, oh man, I should have recorded that, or whatever, right? So anyway, today we are doing stuff in Star Citizen, which, believe it or not, I've actually played kind of a lot. I've been around the Star Citizen scene probably since, I don't know, 2018, 2019, something around there. And I'd been following it for a few years before I got invested into it. Now, I mentioned in my other Star Citizen video, and I'm going to reiterate it here, I'm very, very critical of Star Citizen, but I also have invested a lot into Star Citizen, and I continue to play it. Like, I genuinely think it's starting to become a game, and to be honest, that's really cool that it's finally becoming a game. Alright, buddy, where's my ship? I don't even know. Normally they give you a marker for where these are. See, here's the thing, right? When it works, Star Citizen's awesome. The problem is, sometimes Star Citizen doesn't like to work. And I'm sure that I jumped to the right place, but I doubt that the ship that we want a Corsair. But hey, you know what? We'll check it out. Maybe it is. So, one of the things that I kind of wanted to discuss today, I know I've been rambling about a bunch of nonsense, mostly about me, but one of the things that I actually wanted to discuss that pertains specifically to Star Citizen is that we're supposed to be getting new medical ships soon. Like, in particular, we're supposed to be getting the Apollo variant, or, well, the Apollo and the Apollo variant, so it's the Apollo Triage and the Apollo, I don't know, Medevac, something like that. And, yeah, this definitely is not our guy. Anyway, for a ship like that to work in this game, we need a fundamental overhaul of how medical gameplay works. that... I think I'm having a bug with plotting routes. So I guess we're just gonna jump somewhere, cut the jump, and then try to jump back. Anyway. For medical gameplay to work, I know a lot of people in Star Citizen Sphere disagree with me on a lot of things, or I disagree with them, or perhaps we both disagree with each other, but regardless, there are things that we probably don't see eye to eye on. And I think a lot of people, when it comes to Star Citizen, when they think of medical gameplay, what they think of is medical beacons. Like, they think that Johnny over here is going to take his Apollo, going to throw a tier 1 bed, 3 tier 3 beds in it, or 5, or whatever the combination is, right? And he's going to sit there, and he's going to go pick up everybody who has trouble throughout the verse, and he's going to heal them up. I just don't think that that's ever going to be the reality. We had medical beacons for a long time. And to be fair... Hey, there we go. We actually do have a mark for it. Fantastic. So, we had medical beacons for a long time. Medical beacons are back in the game now. And to be honest, medical beacons before, in my opinion, only really saw use because at the time, you could get into a position where it was more inconvenient to respawn than it was not to. And that might become a thing in the future. I'm not sure. Like, a lot of ships and a lot of vehicles have med bays these days. And a lot of ships that don't have med bays have the ability to carry something that can take a med bay. And yes, I understand that they're looking at putting like gel in the game that you need to supply your little bed with. And that, to be honest, creates its own slew of potential problems. But I don't think that the reality of this game is going to be, I went down, I put up a med beacon, and I AFK for half an hour or 45 minutes or however long it takes for somebody to pick up my med beacon. Because assuming that everything works as intended with med beacons, like a good Samaritan picks it up who genuinely wants to help you, and they fly out and help you, right? You're going to be laying there on the ground for at least 15 minutes. At least. If not more. Oftentimes, it's like 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Like, I've been the one who's requested it just because, you know, why not for funsies? And I've been the guy who's gone and helped people. And a lot of the time, it's like, here's a guy, he's stuck. For whatever reason, like, he needs to be picked up. And we have, what, like 500-600 people on the server now. Back then, we probably had 150. Out of 150 people, there might be 3 people that were willing to help this guy. And 2 of them were so far away that it was going to be prohibitively long to get there. So then the third guy is, like, on ArcCorp, needs to go and grab a ship with a med bed, and then he needs to fly to, like, Microtech to go and get the guy. Like, realistically, I just don't see it happening. Like, way back in the day, back in, like, 2019, back when Port Olisar was a thing, we used to do these little community events where, this was when we had, like, 50-man servers, where we'd, like, fully fill a server, and then we would go and we would land on Daymar in a crater, and we'd fight across the crater, right? And back then we didn't have med beds. You just respawn on Port Olisar, and then you'd fly back down, and whatever, right? And the idea was that you needed to get to the other team's ship and self-destruct it. And they were really fun. They were cool. Sometimes we included vehicles, sometimes we didn't. Something like the Apollo works really well if you're going to do some sort of like organized ground PvP event. Like there's a lot of use case for like an organized org v org, like gentleman's agreement kind of game. You could even argue that in the potential future, which I don't like betting on, I like to go off the game we have today because CIG likes to change their mind all the time about virtually everything. But like in the future, theoretically, maybe there'll be like ground combat and you're gonna take Billy's base over here and your guys might get wounded doing that. Okay, maybe it has a use then. Maybe. But like, the size of the Apollo lends it to be kind of an everyday, just general purpose, like this is my ship and this is my role, going to like heal people. Realistically, only having human contracts put out by people just is never going to work. Plus, I mean, they've talked about putting in a rep system before, but like when med beacons were first a thing, and for a very long time, predatory med beacons were very popular, where you would bait in somebody with somebody who was down, and then you'd kill the guy, jack his ship, take his stuff, whatever, when he got there. And like that was a very real risk that people who wanted to do the medical career path ran into. So, what's the solution? Like, what do we do about it? In my opinion, the way that you solve this is that we need contracts. We need medical contracts. Just like we have salvage contracts, just like we have combat contracts. In a lot of cases, I think they're going to be similar to the old investigation contracts. Which I think we just might have gotten an investigation contract back. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't been on here a whole lot this month. But for those of you that don't know, in the past, you'd get a contract and be like, hey, go to this location. It's like a crashed caterpillar, and you need to find this one specific body there, right? Okay, so like the intro, like tier 1 quests could be something like you go to a place, you find a blown up arrow that the guy ejected from in space, you need to go and recover him, patch up his wounds, or like there's a guy at like a bunker, or even just in town in Orison or whatever, right? There's a guy who needs you to come and patch him up. All you need for this is a med gun. You don't even need the med bed. It's not going to be like that serious of an injury. Okay, well that's a good start. And it can increase from there. So now tier 2, you might have like a multi-person casualty where you need to deal with multiple people that are injured, or at the same time you might have something like more severe injuries that you actually do need a med bed for. So here's where you need your C8R, this is where you need your medical, what's it called, Cutlass Red, you know, stuff like that. And then things can escalate from there. So now you're at like rank 3. Well, now you're running into people that might actually shoot back at you. So you might need to go cast back somebody. So you go to a bunker, there's a guy who's down outside the bunker or inside the bunker. I think outside would be easier for them to initially implement because, like, again, this is CIG. Things are usually bugged to hell and back. But, like, there's a guy down outside the bunker, you need to shoot, like, 3 or 4 guys, recover the client, and patch them up. They're actually going to be down, you're going to need to actually, like, put them on the bed. Maybe by then we have more advanced mechanics, so you actually have to do more than, like, press 2 buttons on the bed. Maybe you have to play a minigame, whatever, right? And so contracts can escalate from there. So let's say you finally make it up to, like, max rank. Now, max rank, you might have, like, a mass casualty event on a battlefield where there's 2 factions shooting. Like, you might have... Like, let's say you're in Pyro, and you work for Citizens of Prosperity. You might get a call that says, like, headhunters have attacked this location, you need to go in, you need to clear out the, like 20 dudes that are taking over the location, and you need to, like, Casevac protect and heal these, like, 15 civilians and their like guards. Or you might have one where there's a battle going on between like the advocacy in Stanton and like Ninetales, and you need to go there and you need to Cassavac like 6 or 7 guys from the advocacy while there's a whole battle going on around you with like ships, vehicles, dudes on the ground, whatever, right? And your whole job is to go and save these handful of people. And you get paid, you know, by each guy that you actually manage to successfully extract and patch up and whatnot. I think that could be interesting. And I think it actually gives you a career path. Like, you can still have medical beacons. I'm not saying that we should eliminate medical beacons. Like, medical beacons are really cool, really fun, what's the word for it? Like, pop-up gameplay. There's a term for it, I just cannot think of it. But, it's like cool pop-up gameplay, where you get to interact with other people. And, like, yeah, interacting with other people's cool. Realistically, for most people, I feel like interacting with other people is not going to be the core of Star Citizen. It's just going to be something that, like, passively happens from time to time, and it's cool when it does, and honestly, a lot of the time it's probably kind of shitty when it does, because they probably want to shoot you. But, in this case, it's potentially cool. Like, I don't know. I've had cool situations where I got to go and save a guy. Like, there was a little while where I had a Terrapin medical after last Citizen Con, because it was, like, on my upgrade route to, I think my Star Lancer pack. And, like, I probably had it for 2 weeks at that point, and I hadn't seen a medical beacon that I could actually go and do, and finally somebody popped up in chat, and they're like, oh my god, I died, I need help, rah! Like, I'm at this location that's, like, not marked, so it's gonna be really hard for me to get back here, or whatever, right? So I went over there and, you know, patched the guy up, and I'm like, honestly, this is pretty cool. I haven't actually gotten to use the medical features on this thing at all since I got it, so, you know, thanks for the opportunity. And, you know, he's a cool guy. Plus, so, I do have an Idris. I think that some of the alternative gameplay for an Idris, other than just he, I go bang, is really interesting. Like, I'll mention it some other time in more detail, but I've been playing with the idea of using it as, like, an industrial base to run, like, multiple types of industry off at the same time. But one of the things that I think is really cool and really fun about the Idris is, at the moment, the Idris is the best hospital in the game. Like, you can do quite a bit with an 890, with its medical bed, but it only has one bed, and the hangar can only support relatively small ships. Like, you could use a C8R to get things on and off, or get people on and off, but with something like an Idris, if you wanted to treat it like a hospital ship, you could do that, and you could fill the hangar with, like, multiple C8Rs and give them some escorts, and, like, basically, well, actually, you can even fit Terrapin Medical in there, so you could do, like, a Medical Terrapin, so that you have your, like, trauma team unit on there for, like, hotter extracts, and then you could have, like, several C8Rs on there to act like little ambulances to go and pick people up. And, yeah, in the current game, realistically, you can patch a guy up well enough for almost all injuries with a tier 3 bed. And even if you can't, you can just have the guy set his spawn on the tier 3 bed and hold backspace. But, like, just for funsy, like, LARPy purposes, you could bring them back to the Idris and bring them up to the hospital ward, where you have, like, what, four tier 3 beds, plus, in addition to that, you also have the tier 1 bed. Like, you're basically a fully equipped, like, hospital. And unlike every other ship in the game, you actually have a flight deck. So you can send your little ambulances out, bring people back, and then you can have your little C8s shuttle them out to wherever they need to go. Which, honestly, is potentially cool. But, you know, here's the big but. Like I said before, there's just not that many medical beacons. And I think this leads us on to the next part of our discussion, right? why are there not more medical beacons? To be completely honest, it's just really fucking inconvenient. Like, I did go on a little bit of a tirade about it at the beginning, but it's like, who wants to be stuck AFK for 15 to like 40 minutes hoping that somebody comes and saves you? And the thing is, when it comes to getting saved, like if you just put up a medical beacon, chances are really, really low that somebody's going to pick it up. You have to like put up a medical beacon and then go into chat and be like, hey guys, I need help. Can somebody come and help me? I put up a medical beacon. Please pick it up. Like, somebody save me. And then you need to like talk to people, and you got to hope that one of them likes you enough or whatever to like take the time out of their day and come and save you. Like, there are times before. So, for example, I didn't even need a medical beacon for this one. I had flown my Corsair down to a planet, right? And I don't know how much you know about the Corsair, but the Corsair has these fold-out wings, and it's got these engine nacelles that are attached to said wings. And if you lose one of them, you tend to get a very, very large torque imbalance. And if you don't know what that means, basically imagine if you took a plane, right? Or spaceship in this case. And instead of putting the engine center line, imagine if you put it out on, like, the wingtip. And imagine what would happen if you just lit one of those engines. It's like if you've ever seen one of those circular fireworks that, like, spins around in a circle. It basically does that. Mind you, like, these engines are not on the wingtips, they're closer to the fuselage, but regardless, you still have to deal with the same problem in that the ship likes to spin like a top. And so, you can deal with this, and you can limp it somewhere, but the way you have to do it is you have to set your speed limiter really low so that you don't accelerate quickly, because acceleration will send the whole ship out of control, and then gradually, like, work your speed up, and as long as you're constant, you're kind of, like, working the controls, like, you can make it work. But it's a pain in the ass, and it's not something that I would ever want to do again. So, anyway, I was there on this planet, and I'm like, man, I really don't want to fly this thing back. Like, my ship is absolutely fucked, red lights everywhere. I probably sat in chat for like 20 minutes trying to get somebody to come and pick me up, and I just could not get anybody to come and pick me up. Right? So, imagine that you go down doing a bunker mission or something, and you didn't bring a medical ship with you, or medical Ursa. Really, just, you don't have a med bed. You have nothing. Right? So you went down, and now you need to be saved. And no one wants to do it. So, there's issue one. Issue number two is that at the end of the day, you're always going to have this, like, cost-benefit analysis that you do. And in the past, it was inconvenient to die out in the middle of nowhere because you would drop all of your stuff. Well, dropping all your stuff wasn't very fun. And if you had something valuable on you, then you might want somebody to come and rescue you. These days, that's not really necessary because most of your armor will come back, but my counterpoint to this is even at the time back then, nobody wanted to lose anything, so everybody just ran around in the white sperm suit, and the whole universe looked boring and the same. So, like, we could go back to that with everybody wearing whatever cheap shit they have. Like, basically what I would do is I'd wear the white sperm suit and take like a pistol, and then I would take all the gear off the first guy I saw, and every time I saw better gear I would just take that, and then it's like, oh no, I died, who cares anyway. So then, like, if you're out somewhere when you die that you need to get back, like, let's say you're out in, like, a salvage ship, and you come across a real good target that you want to salvage, but, I don't know, something happens, like, an AI bounty spawned on top of you and they killed you. That's happened to me before. Or you crash, or whatever, right? Like, just somehow you end up dead. But the thing is, your ship's destroyed. For whatever reason, you don't have a death marker or whatever, right? Because, like, you do get death markers now. In the past, you didn't always. Sometimes they bug out, and you don't have them, but, like, they're more reliable now than they ever have been. But it's inconvenient, right? Because you're going to need to go back to find your body, or you're going to want to go back to, like, get whatever it is that you were trying to scrap. Whatever, right? Like, you have a reason that you need to be in that place, or you need to be able to find your way back to that place. Okay, then you might have a reason why you need to be rescued. But the majority of the time, you're not going to be in a situation where you can't find your way back to whatever place you were at. And in a lot of these cases, if I have to choose between waiting the, I don't know, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever it's going to be for somebody else to get their gear, get their ship, fly over, and save me, well, instead of twiddling my thumbs or going AFK, I can just go spend the same 15 minutes getting my own ship and flying back. And again, this is even if we start dropping everything on death again. Like, if I drop everything on death, and I care enough to go back to wherever it is that I died, there's a really good chance these days that I'll be able to find my way back to wherever I died, and I'll be able to get there faster than if I have somebody else come and save me. And I know, this is where the little ninnies that are like, well, what about Death of a Spaceman? If you didn't hear that, I just audibly sighed. Every time that I hear about Death of a Spaceman, like every time I've heard about it for the last decade, they walk something back about it. Like, every time they talk about it, it gets more and more watered down. And the thing is, and this is where I know I'm going to start losing some of you. Like, some of the points before, I know, like, a lot of people can probably be like, oh, well, yeah, you know, it's probably true. Like, people will get sick and tired of that, and people won't know, whatever, right? Like, the other points are not very, like, hot takes. But when I start getting into some of these, like, older committed positions to the game, I know this is where I'm going to start losing people, where people are going to be like, oh, this guy's a fucking retard. You're right, I am a fucking retard. But I also feel like I might be right. When it comes to something like Death of a Spaceman, it's fundamentally going to be an obnoxious, annoying thing that makes people not want to play the game. Okay? That's why every time they talk about it, the consequences become, like, less and less severe. Like, we've gone from you losing like, I don't remember where we started, because, to be honest, everything changes so often in this game that most of the time, if it's not coming out in the next, like, 3 months, I kind of let it go in one ear and out the other, because it's bound to change, and it's bound to be misreported, misrepresented, and talked about by, like, 5 people who don't even work on it. But my understanding is in the beginning it was going to have pretty severe penalties. Then it got watered down, and the most recent thing I've heard about it is, like, you're going to get scars, eventually you'll be able to, and it might, like, impact some of your attributes or whatever, and eventually you'll pass your shit on to like, a successor. And you might pay a little inheritance tax, and they might lose a little bit of rep, but, like, generally speaking, it's not going to be the end of the world. You're not going to really care all that much. And to be honest, I don't know if people are even going to care by the time it finally gets to the game, if it hasn't been watered down even more. Like it would not surprise me if it's like, oh, you have 5 charges, you've died 5 times, now you pay an inheritance tax. Anyway, like, I just don't think that betting on something that isn't in the game today is enough for me to say, gee golly, people are going to care about medical gameplay in 6 years. I don't know. Like, again, I know this is where I'm going to lose people, but, like, I very much so ascribe to the theory that we play the game that we have today. Oh, but it's a tech alpha. Yeah, I know. But, like, we played with what we have today, like, it's a cool idea to pledge stuff because in the future it might be X, Y, or Z, but like, to be 100% honest, if you're getting stuff in Star Citizen today because of what it might be in like 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years, I think you're a fucking idiot. Like, honest to God, I think you're a fucking idiot. I've seen this game change on so many different things, so many different times. Like, I really, really sympathize with those of you that take that mentality. I actually think that you're probably, like, better men to be able to have that kind of faith. I just don't. Like, the potential of what the game might be is out there. I think it's going to be an incredible game. I already think that it's gone from being an unplayable mess like a year ago to actually being a pretty fun game now, even though a lot of things like what you're seeing me do right now have had a lot of issues in the last couple of months. But I just don't think that medical gameplay is one of those systems where it's going to be this idealized vision that some people think that it is. And it really just comes down to it's just not fun to interact with if you're not the one going and picking people up. Like, to use a comparison, right? For medical gameplay to work in the current state without AI missions, you're dependent on other players being your content. And any time in a game where you need other players to be your content, like, you're skating on real thin ice. Because either that content needs to be so unbelievably fun for every party involved that everybody wants to partake in it. So, let's use an example, right? People want to play Battlefield. Battlefield is a PvP game, right? You got players on both sides. And you don't really have bots. Like, in something like Enlisted, you have players, but you also have AI. So, like, if half the player base in Enlisted disappeared tomorrow, it wouldn't really matter that much, because, like, yeah, your games would be less competitive and less exciting, but there would be bots that would fill out the extra slots. So you would still have a playable game. Like, if Enlisted decided that they were going to stop being, like, a live game tomorrow and give you, like a single-player download, theoretically, you could play all of Enlisted the same way that you have been and do all the same things, and the only thing that would change is you'd be dealing with dumber enemies than you deal with right now. But if you play something like Battlefield is contingent on having other players there to be the content for you, and, like, as soon as those players go away, or as soon as they, don't want to play the game anymore or whatever, your content's gone. The way that medical is set up right now, you're dependent on other players to be your content. And if other players don't want to set up medical beacons because they have to wait too long, because, like, Billy came home from work, he has, like, an hour to play before he has dinner with his wife, and then he has to, like, put his kids to bed, and then he might get another hour after that. He doesn't have time to sit here and putz about and wait for somebody to come and revive him. He's gonna hit backspace, and he's gonna go and fly back to his body. Or he's gonna go do something else. And, maybe he'll, like, leave his computer on an AFK while he's having dinner and hope that somebody picks him up, but, like, that's it. It's either he does it while he's taking care of, like, the wife and the kids, or he doesn't do it at all. Because he doesn't have the time for that. It's the same thing with this whole, like, PvP debate that's been going on in this game since God knows when. Like, it basically, the entire time that this game has been out, there's been some level of this PvP debate, which I'm really not going to get into. I'm just going to, like, kind of gloss over it here. But the whole issue, like, the core issue, is that for PvP in this game to exist, or, like, to be a loop, like piracy, for example, the only way that it works is you need other players to be the content for you. And a lot of the time, the people who have to be the content for you are not other PvP players. A lot of the time, it's like Timmy over here who's flying his mining ship who wants to be left the fuck alone and, like, pick up some titanium. Or it's like, Elizabeth over here who just, like, downloaded the game because she saw that there's really cool ships and you can fly, like, big old boxes of medical supplies and, like, save the children of Orison, right? So, when you get something like medical gameplay, it's entirely contingent on the player experience being good enough for the player who has to be your content to want to engage with it. Or, you know, we can go back to in the past where it was so inconvenient at times that the other player wanted to be your content. Like, sure, we can do one of two things, right? We can either create alternative content streams for medical gameplay to keep you busy so that sometimes you might see a player that needs to be rescued. Or I guess we can get rid of the marker for where your ship is so that you can get stranded again and not know how to get back to your ship. And we can get rid of the marker for where your body is so when you die, you can't find your body anymore. So now the game is so fucking inconvenient that you have to have somebody come rescue you, or whatever you had is just pissed down the drain. And if they go that route, dude, the players are going to riot. Like, nobody that I know wants to go back to not having a marker for their ship. Like, nobody wants to go back to not having a marker for where they died. Like, nobody wants to deal with that stuff. So, if the game is not going to go back to being so inconvenient that you have to know where your body is, or you have to have somebody come and rescue you, then the only alternative is that the game needs to provide some other avenue for people with medical ships to actually use their medical ships. Because right now, as of today, the way that you use a medical ship, or a medical Ursa, like, I don't know if you saw, but before I went and got on this ship, I had another Hercules that has an Ursa on it, and that's what I was flying around. And that's what people use it for. It's like, I'm gonna go and do a bunker mission. Cool, I will go and land my C8R,
This is Hurston again.
and that's that. Huh, yeah, I guess that did work. Like, I'm done here. Check it out. Instead of getting this ship that isn't mine out of my hangar and taking off and flying out and all that, oh man, I guess not. That's funny. So, it's probably because I have a ship or a car inside of a ship. But if I did this with, like, my Idris, it usually keeps my respawn set to my Ursa. Or not my Ursa, but, like, the medbed on the Idris. It'll, like, if I set my respawn there, and then I log out, and then I log back in, it usually keeps it saved on the Idris. So what I've been doing, or what I was doing last time that I was logged into this, is I was taking my M2, and I had an Ursa parked in there. So what I would do is I'd fly out to the contract, get out, pick up the ship that I needed to fly back, and then after I finished unloading the ship, I'd backspace and I'd be back on my ship, already in space, and I could just jump to the next contract. Admittedly, no, it was not the most efficient way to do it. Like, I could have just used a C8R. But at the time when I was setting this up, I wasn't sure if I was going to need to pick up the cargo, or if I was going to need to, like, fight a little bit. And I wanted a ship that was tanky enough that I could get on the other ship. And I wanted a ship that was big enough that if I decided to do, like, a different kind of cargo mission, or if I, for whatever reason, needed to offload the cargo from the other ship onto my own ship, I could just do it. But, I guess because I I bed logged on the Hercules, and the Hercules does not have an organic medbed, like, built into it, because of that, I guess it reset my spawn point from the Ursa back here. Which, It's not a big deal. It's something I should have thought about when I was on it. But regardless, my point here was that right now, the way that people use medbeds is like an insurance. So, like, I'll fly my friends and I on the Idris out to Bloom, and we'll go down and we'll do some headhunter missions to kill, like, Xenothreat or to kill, like, Citizens of Prosperity. And we'll all have our spawn points set up on the Idris. We'll have more ships, more guns, whatever, all on the Idris already. So, oh no, you got killed on the ground, and, I don't know, one of us didn't revive you or whatever. Like, let's say only 2 of you went down and you both got killed. Well, cool, just respawn back up on the Idris and fly back down. The way that a lot of people use med stuff right now is they'll take like a C8R or they'll take like a Constellation with a medical Ursa inside of it, and they'll just go do a bunker mission and they'll park outside turret range, and it's like, oh no, I got shot in the bunker, holds backspace, walks the kilometer back in. Alright, second chance, right? Like, that's the way it gets used right now. So, effectively, what it means is that medical gameplay just, it doesn't exist. Like, I don't think people are really doing a whole lot of medical beacons at the moment. I mean, here, we can look and see. Like, I don't know how many people are on the server, but there's probably like 500 or 600 people on the server. As far as I can tell, we don't have any beacon missions available, so... And, like, I could sit here and I could check in, like, every 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. Like, I think it usually pops up at the top of the screen. If a medical beacon pops up. It used to pop up when... Because people used to be able to set medical beacons and transport beacons, and, or, like, just general beacons would be, like, they'd pay you for whatever. But, yeah, I don't know. They say that there's some medical changes coming in around the time that the Apollo comes out. I'm really interested to see what they are. I genuinely, really hope that whatever it is they come out with, it's something that just adds in medical NPC missions, like just going and healing people. Like, I don't care how they do it, but I'd be very happy if they did do something with it. I just picked up a Guardian and a Fortune and a Golem in-game at New Deal, so I want to claim them back here, since I usually operate out of Area 18. Yeah, I mean, just as a side note, I guess I can kind of go through this. I don't own every ship on this list. A lot of these are in-game stuff, some of them are probably loaners. But, like I said, I've played a lot, I have quite a few things. This is in-game, I own this, in-game, this is a loaner that came with the Carrack. In-game, came with the Carrack, own the Carrack. In-game, this is a loaner that I think came with the Idris. I own the F8, in-game. One of the MPUVs came with the Idris, the other ones are all in-game. The Raft is in-game. I own the M2, I have an upgrade from the M2 to the Ironclad Assault. Your insurance claim. In-game, well actually, I think this is a loaner with the Corsair. I own the Corsair. In-game, I own the TAC. In-game, I own the MX, but this is going to become a Perseus. I have, like, 90% of the upgrade track done. I just need to put something in before the Hull D. Because, like, right now, it's, Guardian MX to Caterpillar to, Starlancer TAC. That'll probably become like a 600, and the 600 will probably get upgraded to the Hull D. So I just need that, like, gap right there fixed. And then I've got Hull D to Carrack and Carrack to Perseus. In-game, 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 in-game. Uh, that might be a loner. I can't remember. I think this is a loner from something. In-game and in-game. So, as you can see, I've picked up a ton of stuff in-game. And I don't know if you're interested. And look at rep. Vaughn, we're maxed. I haven't fucked with Redwind, I need to. North Rock, we're kind of whatever. Hurston, we're kind of whatever. Headhunters, we are maxed in Pyro. I've done a ton in Pyro. Not so much here. Foxwell's kind of whatever. Eckhart's kind of whatever. Crusaders also kind of whatever. Kovalex, we are high enough that we get all of the good missions, but that's about it. I haven't actually used that Hull C very much. And we are maxed with the bounty hunters. So, you get the idea. Played a lot, made a lot of credits. I'm going to be real sad when everything goes away. So, let me know what you think down below. Obviously, I've been sitting here rambling for like 45 minutes. Maybe you agree with me on the medical stuff. Maybe you don't. Maybe you think that they're going to come up with other, like, creative solutions to fix the problem. I don't know. I won't hold my breath. I really do hope that what they do is make AI missions for medical. If it's anything other than that, I feel like medical is going to continue to be a dead, pointless gameplay route. So, as per usual, get out there, kick ass, take names, and win your games.